Hello everyone. We're going to get started on how to shade this sphere in pencil. And let's go over our supplies first. Now, you don't feel like you have to get special supplies. If you just have regular printer paper or whatever you have on hand, feel free to use that. I don't want you to feel like you need to get special supplies, but the type of paper, for those of you who want to know, the type of paper I'm using is actually Canson paper, and usually I would say stay away from Canson. Canson is not the most high quality of of art paper, but it's okay to use for sketching. I would stay away from it for watercolor. It's very, very poor quality if you're looking to get into watercolor paper. But anyway, I'm using Canson sketch paper, and these are going to be the pencils that I'm using here. And they're ranging from an F to a 4B. And you can see I sharpened them, so you want to keep them really nice and sharp. All the way up to a 9B, which is the darkest you can get. And then I have a Prismacolor black colored pencil. Okay, so this is going to be, and I may or may not use this. It's a very nice matte black pencil, and it's actually wax based. So we're gonna see if I'm gonna actually use this to put in my strongest darks, but I do have that. And then a kneaded eraser. Okay, I highly encourage you to get a kneaded eraser, not a harder eraser. This is going to be very important for like some of the softer effects. Okay, so let's take a look at this sphere that we're going to be drawing here. You can see that the light is coming from the upper left here. It's striking this ball here, and it is creating this cast shadow that is pointing in line with the direction that the light is hitting it. So when you're going to draw your cast shadow, you want to make sure that it is aiming in the same direction as the light. So light travels in straight lines. So if you think about it, that makes sense. Okay, so you can also see here that some very interesting things happen when the light hits this ball. First of all, it creates this highlight here, and then you can see that the light part is here. This is the beginning of the shadow. Note that it's starting right here, and it's very, very gradual. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera, but it's just starting to sink into this shadow part here. Now, this part here, the darkest part of the form shadow, okay, so this is the form shadow because it's the shadow that's on the form. The darkest part of the form shadow is the core of the shadow, okay? Now, something else is very interesting happening down here, in that there is a little bit of reflected light that's bouncing up from this table onto the form. So you can see that, and getting that can be tricky. Once you find just how amazing it is, what an amazing effect it will give to your drawing to include the reflected light, you're going to want to start putting it everywhere and maybe overstating it. You really, really, really want to keep it very subtle and very soft. Okay, and then we have one of the darkest elements of the drawing here, which is the cast shadow. Okay, so there's two kinds of shadows, form shadows and cast shadows. All right, you can see how it's fading. It's very soft here, and then as it projects away into the darkness, it gets very soft out here. Okay, the darkest part of the cast shadow, and it isn't labeled here, but you can see right where it is coming close and touching the sphere here, that is going to be the darkest part of the shadow, the darkest part actually anywhere on the drawing, and it's called an occlusion shadow. So look what happens when you hold your hands together. I encourage you to do this. Take your hands, hold them together and look down, and right in there you can see that that is the darkest part, okay? It's called an occlusion shadow when two forms come together. In this case, the ball resting on top of the table, okay? So before you get started, no, I don't think we won't go there just yet. So you see that I have these different ranges of hard and dark pencils. I'm going to start with my F pencil here, okay? Because this is going to be the hardest and the lightest, okay? So we're going to start very lightly, and start building this up, okay? We're just going to slowly start building this up and kind of pull the sphere from the background, okay? So I'm going to actually start by reproducing this box here, and we can keep it. Now, one thing you really want to keep in mind when you start drawing is don't push down too hard. You don't want to push down too hard. So as you can see, I'm holding the side of the pencil here. I'm not holding it down like this because that's going to push into the paper. You want to hold it on its side like this, okay? And just very gently, and you can see how I'm holding the pencil back here. It's a little floppy, right? So you kind of don't want to be too controlling with this, okay? And I'm just going to come here, and I'm just going to slowly, now you can see here that as I'm drawing, my wrist is kind of floppy, okay? And can you see how it's flopping here? You want to keep it floppy, like so. And very, 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 very light. Can you hear that rain? Well, I've got some music playing on my iPad here, but there's also some rain going on out there. Now, I'm going to take my hand, not one finger to smudge, my whole hand here. And you want to go like this, okay? And I do this as soon as I see that there's any directionality to my pencil strokes. I want to keep everything very soft and even. Do you see how I'm changing direction? Okay, so when you change direction like this, as you change direction, you want everything to be very uniform. That's why we're changing direction here. And you can see how it's incredibly soft. I'm keeping everything. Keep it soft. You really, really, really don't want to go in there with a super hard like so. Now I'm going to go this way. Now we can start putting just a micro amount of more pressure. I'm actually getting the background in here, but you can notice that the light's coming this way. This right here is the lightest part on the table. This is the darkest. Do you notice how the background gets ever so slightly lighter right here next to that form shadow? Okay, that does a great deal to heighten the illusion of space in this drawing. Okay, so that is what we're focusing on right now, is creating the illusion of three-dimensional space on a two-dimensional surface. All right, so let's just keep this going. I'm going back and forth now. You can start seeing a little bit of directionality here, so I'm going to go this way, like so. Keep it moving at a diagonal. Soften this some more. I want it to be very soft. And you can see how slowly I'm building this up. Now over here, I want to start making it a little bit darker. This is where it's going to be just a little bit. Really, look what happens. I'm going to come up here. Look what happens if you push down really hard. You go back in, you try to erase that, it's never coming up, right? Or even if you have a really powerful eraser, okay? Because it's grooving into that paper. Plus, you want the whole picture to hang together. If you make an erroneous mark because you push down hard, you can see how slowly I'm trying to build this up here, okay? If I go in there, the smoothness, the other parts of the paint, of the drawing are gonna get disturbed. So you don't wanna do that. Like so, like so. Why is learning how to draw a sphere so important? Well, it gives us a great opportunity to watch the play of light, to observe the play of light as it hits a round surface, not a cube. I mean, a cube is a great place to start, but a cube has six sides to it. And each one of those sides is going to get a relatively, well, they're flat, so it's going to get a flat amount of light. It's a great place to start if you're just learning to draw and you want to observe the values. And this is actually quite challenging, but I'm saying that to you because you need to give yourself some grace here. Give yourself some grace, and if you're having a hard time, you know, you need to get back up on that horse and just do it again, right? I keep shaking the camera, I'm sorry. Just get back up on that horse and try again and again and again and again if necessary. That's what any worthwhile endeavor is going to take here. Okay, you can see here that there is just a table that is implied. There is no hard line here showing the edge of the table. You see that? It just kind of fades, albeit pretty quickly, from this dark to this light, but there is no line there. All right. And you can see how I'm just kind of pulling this box out. Nice and soft here, nice and soft. There we go. Change the direction, change the direction, change, keep changing the direction. I haven't yet gone this way. I'm going to come up here and go this way. You can see how uniform it is. Now, if I did my whole drawing just going up and down like this, and then blending it, and then going up and down again, it would have, it doesn't matter how much blending. Blending is not going to, it's not enough to make a surface look uniform. You have to put it down. You have to put your brush, your pencil strokes down, coming from every direction here, okay? Every direction. Here we go. Honestly, this is one of my favorite things to do on a rainy day. Just stay inside and draw, make something beautiful. Okay. Now, one of the biggest things I see in beginner drawings is either having a misalignment of values. Now, what do I mean by values? I mean shades of gray, and maybe I can come over here and, oh, here we go. This is a value scale. You can see that it's pretty much from 1 to 9, and it's it's kind of like learning notes to music, okay? If you get those values in the wrong places, if you have too much of a certain value, or if the whole thing is too dark, right, you're not going to have as convincing a illusion to form here. I'm gonna you can notice how I'm putting way more down over here than I am over here, even though this side does need, actually this side does need more. If you really look closely at this, this background compared to this, you can see that this just needs way more building up. I'm gonna just keep working on this with my F pencil. Now you can hear it. I'm putting more pressure down. You might ask, well, why don't I just put more pressure in the beginning? Well, that doesn't always work for me. There is an illusion that is created when you put layers on top of layers on top of layers on top of layers that you can't get if you just go in like this, right? That's okay for quick sketches, but I really want to build this up and have a feeling of space here. Now, I can see that this ball, do you notice how I'm swinging from my shoulder here? I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'm going to start putting this ball in here, the sphere, and just very, very gently. And you can't see, but my eyes are flicking back and forth at the original picture, right? And when I draw this, it's like I'm pretending it's already there. Now, round and round we go. See how I'm using many, many lines and pushing so lightly until the illusion of this sphere starts appearing here. You can see this now. You see? Round and round. Okay. I like that. Then I can come in here and put this cast shadow. Pay very close attention to, whoops, hello Siri. You can see how it catches here, comes around, and goes like this. I'm actually going to take this picture and I'm going to put it in the comment section, so you can actually download it, or I can send you the link or something. I'll put a link so you can actually find this. But if you take your pencil and practice this air drawing, right, and you want to do this again and again, right, really feel that shape. I've seen cast shadows going up this way. I've seen them where this line is too high. Note where this connects to the ball. You don't want to have it too high. You don't want to have it too low either. Pay attention to the widths and the swing of this here, All right, once again, we're going to put this in very softly here. Like so. Round we go. Just going to make this a little bit bigger. Pay attention to where this oval, okay, so ovals, unlike circles, this is more of an ellipse actually. They have points, okay? They have an axis, okay? So you want to ask yourself, you want to axis yourself, okay? You want to ask yourself, is it, how parallel is it with the edge of the paper here? Is it going this way? It's going this way. We can see that it's pretty straight. So if I come over here, I come like this. I'm going to make this a little darker here so you can see it. I mean, you can just barely see it coming out here. Barely see it. See? Right now, everything's just very nebulous, and I like that. I like that because what you don't want to do in the beginning of a painting or a drawing is destroy possibilities. I like to have everything very possible. Keep everything open, keep everything very soft and malleable. Like this. Yep. And start coming in here and just a little. See how I pushed harder there? Made a little tiny edge right there. Starting to get a little bit more. Alright. Okay. I like so far. Alright, I think it's time to switch to my 4B. Doesn't mean I'm not done with, I mean I might be done. I might be done, or I might not be done. So I'm going to take this. This is my 4B now, so I'm moving up. It's quite a jump actually. I'm going to start really putting some sometimes people think that when they start drawing this, oh, we need to make the ball paler, right? We need to make the sphere paler. No, 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 no. Values change in relation to each other, so you always need to ask yourself, consider the picture as a whole, right? This ball looks pretty pale, but it's only because this background is so dark. So what we need, we're in control of this situation here, all right? So we can choose to make this dark or light. Or we can, sorry, literally when I start trailing off like that, it's like the right side of my brain is warring with the left side of my brain, the language and the spatial part, so it's really hard to like talk and see how careful I am to avoid this here. I don't want to mess with this too much because that's going to have its own dealio going on here. Another reason I'm using the side of my pencil like this is, well, look how much more surface area you can cover and how softer it is when you use the side and not the top. go. Okay, so this part here, I'm going to start really putting this in here. So in the beginning I was working really big, right? We're going to start getting way more careful as we progress. I'm really starting to tease out this edge here. As this is the darkest part, I really want to make sure Another thing I can do is come in here and carefully place this highlight. I don't want to place it, you know, I want to get it just right. So I'm going to put it right about here. That gets softened too. Not sure I placed that exactly right. I'm going to put this back here like so. Okay. Now I'm going to get, is it time for the 9B? I'm going to go in and, because this is so dark here. See how I'm using more the point now because this is detailed, more detailed here. Okay. Raise this up just a little bit, pushing very softly with my pencil again. I keep emphasizing the softness because I've trained thousands of paint people and I just see this again and again. It's the biggest thing that I see. Is people pushing too hard in the beginning. Yeah, the time to push hard with your pencil really is at the end, if at all. You could build this entire drawing up and not push hard at all. See how this kind of pull, I don't like that. I want to keep it as perfect as I can here. So just correcting it. If I'd pushed really hard, I would have had to go in and get, you know, my eraser and no. Note how, even though this looks very hard right here, if you really zoom in, you'll see it's not quite that hard. You don't ever want to go in and go like that. That's what I see a lot with cast shadows, these hard lines, right? From a distance, it looks like that. It's kind of like planet Earth viewed in space, just looks like this perfect orb, right? But actually it's really bumpy. If you get up close and you look at it, it's really bumpy. All right. You know, same deal with the ocean. You look out across at that horizon, it just looks like a beautiful smooth line, but you know, it's made up of choppy waves. Okay. So you'll notice, like almost from the beginning of the section, I really want to work on my brightest brights and my darkest darks. By establishing those first, come in here and gently carve out. By establishing those firsts, we're kind of putting the end points on the it's going to be much easier to judge all subsequent values when we have our darkest darks and our lightest lights. So let's just put this in here. And I have to be very careful. This is going to be the most, heads up, challenging part of our drawing. Getting the shape of that crescent right is going to be very important. Just feeling so by darkening this area here around our sphere, we can further carve it out. Using one finger now. All right, I don't want to go like this anymore because we're getting a little bit more specific. I'm actually going to get, I might bring out my blending tools for getting this form shadow. In the beginning, I don't want to use